Hey there, BookTube! Welcome back to my channel and welcome to A Closer Book. Today I'm reviewing 3 books that I read recently. The first is The Wrath of the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. The novel is inspired by the story 1001 Nights and it is Renee Ahdieh's debut novel. I think this was a stunning debut from a promising young writer, and it is also the beginning of a series, and I can't wait to pick up the second one in the series, even though I'm not a huge serial reader. The story is inspired by 1001 Nights. Shahrazad is the heroine in her story. She lives in this kingdom, Khorasan, where the caliph / king is an 18-year-old boy, Khalid. His history is that every day he takes a new bride, and at dawn the next day she is killed. Shahrazad volunteers to be the next bride, intent on getting this reign of terror to end one way or the other. The story is fun, it's whimsical, it's scary. There's a graphic scene in the novel that was very unexpected and gave me pause. But overall, I felt like the writing was appropriate for the young adult audience that it's written for. And I thought that it was just so fun, so refreshing. There was no graphic language. It was a fun teen romance by teen characters who are living adult situations but still experiencing them as teenagers. The ending was a little underwhelming, and I suppose it was written that way because the author really wanted to push me towards reading the second book, and it did, so I think she accomplished her purpose. Next, I read Percy Jackson's The Lightning Thief graphic novel presentation, and this left a lot to be desired. I gave this a 2-star rating because I didn't love the graphic novel genre. Overall, I'm not a fan of graphic novels, although I have seen a couple that I have enjoyed. So it wasn't that I was completely biased towards the presentation or biased towards the genre. I felt like this was not quite the right medium in which to present this story. Even though this is a fantasy story for young adults and teens, I think you need the narrative in order for the story to move forward. The graphic novel presentation only gives you a pictorial representation of the setting as well as the character, and sometimes it's not enough. The dialogue between characters just isn't enough to set up a scene the way I feel like the author intended for me to understand and appreciate the scene. So I did give this 2 stars. I felt like the moral value of this book was pretty good, so I gave it a star for that. As well as this story introduces mythology to people who might not otherwise turn to that kind of literature. The Lightning Thief is the first in the Percy Jackson series. Again, another series that I'm not a fan of. So in this one, we meet Percy, and he is in the middle of what he considers to be a regular life. His father is no longer in his life, and his mother has a living boyfriend who Percy doesn't necessarily have a great relationship with. And so he's been attending boarding school, and he's not doing very well. In fact, he seems to have been being kicked out of every school every semester. So at the end of this semester, when he finds out that he's no longer going to be able to attend the school, he's pretty dismayed. So his mother explains that the reason he's having trouble fitting in to this normal life is because he himself is not normal, and she starts to tell him about his family history and the story about his father. I feel like the story itself has promise, and I would like to read this Percy Jackson series at some point, but definitely not in this genre because I feel like I need more from books than just the graphics and dialogue that this genre provides. The next book I want to tell you about is Philip Lewis's debut novel, The Barrowfields. This is a bookish book. This is a book that bookworms will enjoy, writers will enjoy, just for the storyline. Henry Astor is a bookworm, and his interests and his desires parallel that of his father's life before him. And so Henry decides to explore his father's life, his childhood, and the experiences that made him into who he was before he abandoned his family. So the book is that exploration, the son's exploration of his father's life, but it's written in such beautifully haunting prose that it reads like a love letter from this boy to his father, the father who's no longer in his life, but who, in the process of writing down this story, he is declaring his admiration and his love for his father. There were lots of textured sentences that I just bookmarked because I want to come back to them later. I'm going to read one of them to you. This is from a paragraph on page 54. This is really early in the book where I realized that I loved it. This is one of his reflections from his childhood where he is remembering his father playing music. He writes, "All the music he loved was slow and bittersweet. I really didn't know what any of the pieces were until years later. After he left, I carried those melodies around in my head like a name I'd forgotten. They would move in and out of my consciousness, lingering just out of reach, like a star you can only see when you're not looking directly at it. I enjoy books that are written as a tribute to a parent, but I have never read before a tribute that was written so well by a son about his father, even though the father had abandoned him. This book is about him understanding his father's choice. It's like this is him finally coming to terms with his father's decisions and understanding who he was. In the end, I gave it 3 stars because there were parts of it that rambled and didn't quite come to the point that I thought it was going to. There was a plot twist in the end that was very unexpected and that changed the tone of the novel in the end. But I so enjoyed the process of getting to that point that I gave it 3 stars. I feel like it was a strong 3 stars. I feel like it could be higher than 3 stars because the prose was unforgettable. There were parts of this book that one day I'll just open up my camera and just record myself reading sections of this book for you, because it is a book that I feel like I will come back and reread several times in the future. 3 stars, 3 stars, well deserved. High 3, maybe closer to a 4 than a 3 star. But that is a closer book at these 3 novels that I read recently. In my description box, I left a link to other episodes of A Closer Book videos that I have done as we go through the process of reading 102 books in 2017. That's the goal. So thanks for watching this video. Please leave me a comment down below if you've read and loved any of the books that I talked about here, or if you just want to chat about anything. I love talking about books. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy reading. Bye. Next I read like in the end, oh, I'm sorry, I can't give the end away, right?